This video is going to be about how to draw realistic faces. I'm going to try out a few different techniques, see what I get. There's different ways of doing this, but I think the main point that should come out of this video is that when drawing realistic faces, you still have to have some sort of artistic style to it, because there are certain features on a face that if you draw them accurately, they won't translate well, so you have to take that into consideration. I think I'm going to freehand it a bit with ink, so that my ideas go straight onto the page. So what I'm going to do is, in my head, I'm going to pick an angle that I think is going to be good for this video. I like to start with the out of the head and just do the outline. So you can probably start seeing that it's going to be underneath the horizon line, and we're going to see the top of the head. I like to add an ear just so I know where exactly the facial features are going to be. And then that kind of informs where the bottom of the face will be. Okay, I'm going to add in my hairline, and then the hair can sit on top of the skull that I've kind of already drawn. So there. Then I'm going to go into the eyebrows. Where you can start getting a bit more detail is like the fine lines of the hair on the eyebrows. I think that's kind of a good idea. So this is where I start to talk about when you should put details in, when you should leave them out. So here, I'm getting very fine with it. I put in the details for the eyelids, because I think those are important. You want to show that the eyes aren't just some flat shape in the head, but actually between the two eyelids. So same here. And then also with the nose, I don't want to draw all of the outline of the nose, so that's why I start with the bottom. Because at the bottom, you know there's going to be shading because the nose comes out of the head. Here, with the nose, you can see I tried to put a line, didn't put all of the line there, and then I did a darker line on the other side of the nose to show one of the nostrils, because I want to show that the front of the nose is further out than the left nostril, therefore creating kind of like a darker shape there. Okay, so then another feature, these lines here are supposed to indicate that there's like a cheek. So then the lips. Sometimes I like to do just the line for the bottom of the top lip, but I don't like to do a straight line because that's not how it would look in real life. Like, the lighting will cause a shading for the bottom of the top lip, but it won't create a full line, so just trying to represent that there. But if you want to make sure that people know that, you know, the top of that lip is filled, you can kind of just do lines on the side. And then bottom lip, again, focuses on the bottom because that's where the shading is going to be. And so one thing that I did in the beginning is I outlined the whole thing. If you had a pencil, you could plan it out a bit more. So right now, for example, I'm like, okay, is this chin big enough? So maybe I'll just add a bit more, just so you know, adds more to the bottom of the chin. Again, this is an angle as well, so you would expect there to be less view on the chin than if it was straight on. Here, when defining the forehead, I like to just show that it's kind of like a flat shape compared to the rest, and then show that this is kind of slanted down. Okay, so then obviously with the ear, got some weird shapes there, but not too important. Okay, pupils. Sometimes it's better to just leave a bit of light from whatever angle instead of just doing a full circle, because irises, they're not always blotted out in one circle. Sometimes there's gaps in them because there's light shining or something in a reflection, things of that nature. So sometimes it's better just to, you know, have it as a circle shape but with kind of gaps in it. And then if you want to add, again, this is kind of like a hair exercise, so if you want to add these fine lines for the hair, that's fine. Okay, so clearly here I'm kind of leaning towards light coming from the left side, so just look out this side of it. have a few shapes here just to represent the hair. Block out here. And then start working on maybe some places where I'd want to put some shadow a bit more. Maybe around the lips as well, and the neck. So there's most of the features are here. Kind of happy with somewhat how it looks. Then it comes to like shading as well, so that's another way to make things look a bit more realistic. Again, I've decided that's coming from this direction, so just a bit of cross hatching, or at least my version of shading with lines, to make sure that it looks like the nose is protruding again. You would expect the right side to be a bit more filled out. Same with the bottom of the chin and the neck, and even more so below the neck because the head is protruding ahead of the neck. Okay, that's one way of shading. Another way, and this could easily ruin this drawing, but I could just block out this whole side. So instead of just doing these fine lines, I'm actually showing you that this whole side of the face is blocked out by shadow. Okay, which kind of works. And then if you wanted to go back, you want to just make it a little bit more clean with how the shadow is represented. That's fine too. This is a good way of shading if you don't know too much about the details of the face and you just want to, you know, get a, so for example this eye, if I don't want to put too much detail, I may block out even a bit more and just leave the details on this side of the face. That's up to you. Okay, so that's like a few techniques on how to draw a realistic face. Try all of them or some of them, see which ones work for you, and yeah, that's the video.